Welcome to a brand new look newscast. I'm Daniel Che. It's a special day for Arirang TV, day one of reaching out to more viewers in the UK. And we are introducing new changes, shakeups, and brand new additions to our newscast as well. Let us first begin with the headlines. Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte gets a lot done on the first day of his 4-day visit to South Korea. In a summit with President Park Geun-hye, the two inked 5 MOUs focusing on economic collaboration. The highly anticipated TV face-off between the U.S. presidential candidates provides few surprises, and Hillary Clinton appears to be the winner according to viewers and analyst responses so far. Arirang TV continues to provide greater access to more viewers around the world as it starts broadcasting on British satellite TV networks. Our starting point is the summit between President Park Geun-hye and the visiting Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. After 55 years of diplomatic ties, the two countries have decided to take their relations to the next level, adopting a joint statement on greater cooperation in various sectors. The new MOUs still at Tuesday's summit are mainly aimed at fostering new industries for future growth. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun starts us off.
Korea and the Netherlands have upgraded their bilateral relationship to a future-oriented comprehensive partnership. At Summit Talks Tuesday, President Park Geun-hye and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte sealed 5 MOUs on stepping up practical economic cooperation between the two countries. Seoul and Amsterdam have set their sights on fostering new industries. Together, they'll share their strength in big data mining and analysis to create prompt and meaningful statistics from raw data, including information called from social media and road sensors. The agreements covering both the private and public sectors are expected to further boost bilateral trade and investment. The Netherlands is Korea's third biggest foreign investor and attracts the most investment from Korea among the European Union nations. Seoul and Amsterdam will also beef up cooperation in the renewable energy sector, and in particular in nuclear and wind power plants. With Seoul vying to revamp its agriculture sector, the Netherlands, the world's #2 agriculture exporter, will share its know-how in smart farming and training. The two countries will also increase people-to-people exchanges, allowing 100 young people to travel and work in each other's countries for up to a year. The two leaders also condemned Pyongyang's continued nuclear and missile provocations and agreed to work closely on strengthening international cooperation to denuclearize North Korea. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Lawmakers from the ruling Saenuri Party continued their boycott of the parliamentary audit for a second day. They are demanding the Assembly Speaker's resignation as tensions rise over a motion to dismiss a cabinet member appointed by the president. Kim Young-gil has the latest from the National Assembly.
The ruling Saenuri Party has submitted a formal parliamentary resolution calling for the resignation of Assembly Speaker Chung Se-kyun. The Saenuri chief on Tuesday lambasted Chung for the controversial remarks he made during a parliamentary session last week about sacking the newly appointed agriculture minister. He also cast doubt on Chung's ability to remain neutral in his post.
This person, Chung Se-kyun, has no intention of keeping his political neutrality as an Assembly Speaker. The recording has revealed his thinking.
The ruling party chief is referring to an audio recording of a conversation between Chung and a main opposition party lawmaker that was leaked Monday. In the recording, Chung is heard suggesting the ruling party offer a compromise on other controversial bills in exchange for the withdrawal of an opposition-led motion to dismiss the agriculture minister. The political tussle had escalated over the weekend after President Park Geun-hye vetoed the dismissal motion. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea urged the Saenuri chief to end a hunger strike he started Monday and come back to the negotiating table.
Party leaders usually start a dialogue to overcome gridlock, but all the channels for talks have been cut off as the ruling party chief is staging a hunger strike. We urge Chief Lee Jong-hyun to end his hunger strike and work with the opposition to resolve the confrontation.
The minor opposition People's Party echoed the view, adding that a hunger strike is not the right way for a ruling party leader to protest. The rival parties aren't likely to change their positions on the dismissal motion for the agriculture minister anytime soon. meaning the audit deadlock is expected to continue for some time. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
The United States has, for the first time, blacklisted and filed criminal charges against a Chinese firm for assisting North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. That means companies will now have to think twice about engaging in transactions with the Hermit Kingdom. Kwon So-wa tells us more.
The United States is getting tougher on North Korea's nuclear ambitions and those who support it. The U.S. Treasury Department has imposed sanctions directly on a Chinese entity, Dandong Hungxiang Industrial Development Company, and 4 of its officials. This following recent revelations that the firm exported materials that can help Pyongyang develop weapons of mass destruction, such as aluminium oxide, which is used in processing nuclear bomb fuel. Also, the Justice Department filed criminal charges against the firm for laundering money to evade U.S. economic sanctions. In an indictment released Monday, a civil forfeiture action has been filed for all the funds contained in 25 bank accounts belonging to the company. It alleges the firm conducted U.S. dollar transactions on behalf of North Korea's Korea Kwangsun Banking Corporation. That bank has been under U.S. sanctions since 2009 for its financing of Pyongyang's weapons program. Back in South Korea, Seoul welcomed Washington's move.
By underlining the danger of conducting transactions with North Korea, the measure will alert third countries and contribute to enforcing the global implementation of the UN Security Council resolution.
Washington's latest measure has been supported by Beijing, which actively investigated the case with the U.S. According to a diplomatic source, China is expected to expand the scope of its disciplinary action to include government officials after the owner of the company, Ma Xiaohong, who is under arrest, confessed that dozens of officials are involved in their business. This comes in the wake of North Korea's 5th nuclear test earlier this month and could have an influence on the sanctions under discussion at the UN Security Council, which has vowed to come up with stronger punitive measures on Pyongyang. Kwon So-wa, Arirang News.
The UN General Assembly is expected to adopt a new resolution on North Korea's human rights violation. Speaking at a briefing in Washington, D.C., Robert King, the U.S. State Department's special envoy for North Korean human rights issues, said the U.S. is hoping to raise the issue at the Security Council. The UN previously adopted resolutions on the North's human rights in 2014 and 2015. This year's resolution is also expected to include a call to refer the issue to the International Criminal Court. If so, it will be the 3rd consecutive year the General Assembly has made the recommendation. The draft resolution is expected in October. It was a night full of political spectacle, or for some, political frenzy, as Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump faced off in their first presidential debate. Our Hwang Ho-jun gives us the lowdown on who upstaged who and why.
Hillary Clinton appears to have prevailed in the candidates' first clash. After an intense 90-minute debate moderated by NBC anchor Lester Holt, a CNN ORC poll of debate watchers showed they felt Clinton won, 62 to 27%. Analysts have generally contrasted Trump's lack of substantive responses and defensiveness with Clinton's composure and ability to parrying Trump's personal jabs, interruptions, and falsehoods. For example, in a section on U.S. policy toward North Korea, Trump continued to argue that America's allies, including South Korea, are not paying their fair share for defense.
Just to go down the list, we defend Japan, we defend Germany, we defend South Korea, we defend Saudi Arabia, we defend countries. They do not pay us what they should be paying us because we are providing tremendous service and we're losing a fortune.
However, that's simply not true. According to the Korean government, Seoul paid more than $850 million in 2014 to have the U.S. military in the country, which is around 40% of the total cost. However, when direct or indirect support, including tax benefits, are taken into account, the actual cost covered by South Korea is much greater, up to 70%. Clinton, on the other hand, stressed the importance of cooperation between the U.S. and its allies.
Words matter when you run for president, and they really matter when you are president. And I want to reassure our allies in Japan and South Korea and elsewhere that we have mutual defense treaties and we will honor them.
There were also some very heated moments on issues that have been contentious throughout the campaign. At one point, Clinton demanded that Trump release his tax returns, and he shot back by saying he would, as long as she releases her deleted emails, a reference to the email scandal that tainted Clinton's reputation. The last question was about whether the candidates would accept the outcome of the election. Clinton said she will, but asked for voter support, saying the election is about voters and their families, quote, and the kind of country and future you want. Trump's final answer? He wants to make America great again. But he did vow to support the outcome of the election no matter who wins. The second televised presidential debate is scheduled for October 9th. Hwang Ho-jun, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, Washington and Tokyo have revised a bilateral agreement to increase logistical support between the two militaries. From now on, Japan will be able to aid the U.S. with ammunition in non-emergent situations. Kim Yeon-bin reports.
Tokyo and Washington have revised security legislation that will allow Japan's self-defense forces to provide the U.S. military with ammunition and fuel. This was made possible by a revision of the Bilateral Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement, or ACSA, which took effect in March. Japan's Asahi Shimbun reported Tuesday that the revised agreement was signed on Monday by Japanese Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida and U.S. Ambassador to Japan Caroline Kennedy. Before the revision of the ACSA, Japanese forces could provide the U.S. military with logistical support, such as food, oil, and transportation. However, ammunition was limited to emergency situations affecting Japan. Japanese officials said the revised ACSA will enable Japan's self-defense forces to supply ammo to U.S. forces during non-emergencies, including anti-piracy operations and ballistic missile threats. However, excluded from the list of approved supplies are weapons. The amendments now await approval from the Japanese Diet before they come into effect. Kim Yeon-bin, Arirang News.
Korea's major phone manufacturers and telecommunications companies will participate in a promotional sales event that starts Thursday and runs for 11 days. According to the Ministry of Trade, Infrastructure and Energy, a combined 217 companies will participate in the Korea Sales Festa event, which is 125 more than last year's Black Friday event. According to a ministry official, the event will feature a much larger variety of discounted goods thanks to the participation of major manufacturing companies. The ministry is currently working to finalize the discount options for smartphones in particular, as a recent survey showed that the devices are at the top of Korean consumers' wish lists. And now we turn to a new milestone for Arirang, the channel you are watching, our maiden broadcast on UK satellite networks. Joining us live from London is our Kwon Jang-ho, who was there to witness the event. Jang-ho, where are you and how has it been going so far?
Hello Daniel, I'm here in front of the headquarters of Freesat, one of the two British TV service providers that are broadcasting Arirang on UK airwaves. That started yesterday, so last night I went to the house of an avid Arirang supporter to watch those first few hours. On September 26th, Arirang TV became available in UK households, including Emma Stock's home here in London. Emma, a fashion student, has been an avid fan of Korean culture for a number of years now. She had been watching Arirang online in the past, but now she's excited about the prospect of having it readily available in her living room in full HD.
I think it's really cool because I can see like favourite actors, singers, there's a variety of different shows to watch. I can show my mum and my family what I'm up to and then why I like Korea so much, and then they can learn more as well.
Arirang is now on two TV service providers in the UK, Sky and Freesat. Together, they are beamed into more than 6 million households. The UK is the fourth largest English-speaking nation in the world and is therefore an especially important market for Arirang, whose English-language broadcasts look to share and better inform people about Korea's culture, history and current affairs.
I think the excitement's beginning to build. Now people are starting to hear about it, and I think it will be very, very popular on Freesat. We hope it will bring a new perspective on news and culture and more information and introduce UK viewers to Korea.
Anticipation is high among those who have already an interest in Korea. Sebastian is a linguist who worked as a translator in Seoul and used to watch Arirang TV before moving back to the UK.
I thought it was a really good way to get into Korean culture. Also, it was a lot easier because it was in English. I think it's really great that now I can just, it's coming at home, so now I can just go home, turn on the TV, and I can have Arirang right there, like that. And I think it's going to be really good to tell my other friends about it.
Sebastian's friend, Chaeyoung, is also keen to see what Arirang has to offer.
As a British-born Korean, I felt kind of a big distance away from everything that was happening in Korea. And when I did try to tune into the news, obviously the level of Korean being spoken on television is way too high standard for me to understand. So I think to have it accessible in English at home would be really convenient.
So there's been much anticipation, and so the British following is expected to grow quickly. Back to you, Daniel.
All right, thank you for being out there for us, Chang-ho. Moving on, Arirang TV has become the first Korean broadcaster to start a 24-hour service in the UK. At a press conference held at the Korea Press Center in Seoul, Arirang TV CEO Moon Jae-won introduced the channel's launch on the UK's largest local satellite platform, Sky UK and Freesat. Along with its efforts to extend its reach in the broadcasting market, Arirang will introduce new programs in September with a new fall season lineup.
This season's program reshuffle is focused on the increase of news hours and depth in preparation of the company's 20th broadcasting anniversary in upcoming February. Also, the Hallyu, the Korean wave programs were added to increase the growing Hallyu industry.
And that includes programs catching up on the latest fashion trends and culture in Korea, as well as current affairs shows inviting prominent experts from a variety of sectors. Starting Tuesday local time, Arirang News will air every 2 hours on weekdays, starting at 6 a.m. and ending with our midnight newscast.
Hello, I'm Cho Yun-sun, Korea's Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism. The United Kingdom is a cultural powerhouse, symbolized by such icons as William Shakespeare, the Beatles, and Harry Potter. Its BBC serves as a benchmark for broadcasters around the world and is followed and trusted by a global audience. And now, I'm very happy and proud to announce that Arirang TV can showcase Korea's latest news and culture to viewers in the United Kingdom. When I visited the Korean Culture Center in London, I was overjoyed to find out that many young people in the country had a deep interest and affection for Korea and Korean culture. In Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare wrote, "And find delight writ there with beauty's pen." With the help of Arirang's genuine and heartfelt voice, I hope viewers in the United Kingdom can find delight and beauty in Korea's rich and authentic culture, state-of-the-art technology, dynamic economy, and last but not least, its beautiful natural scenery. Korea and the United Kingdom have maintained a strong and healthy diplomatic relationship for almost a century. I'm sure that Arirang TV will act as a cultural bridge that further fosters communication and exchanges and helps strengthen mutual understanding and affection between the two countries for many more years to come. Thank you.
Congratulations to Arirang and welcome to the Freesat platform. I'm sure you'll be an excellent addition with your great and varied content.
And that's it for our 6 p.m. newscast. For a close-up on issues and stories making headlines in the domestic arena, we have a brand new segment with our Devin Whiting coming right up. So stick with us.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Devin Whiting with your in-depth domestic news. Korea's unionized subway and railway workers went on strike today for the first time in 22 years to protest the government-led adoption of a performance-based pay system. Nearly 10,000 people are estimated to be participating in the walkout, but with temporary workers filling in, most subway and railway trains are operating as usual. Unionized subway workers in Seoul and the southern port city of Busan, as well as railway workers across the country, are taking part in the strike. Seoul subway line number 9, however, will run as usual as it's run by a private operator. Off-peak subway services will run at about 80% of normal capacity. Regular train services will run at 60%, but KTX bullet train services will operate at the usual levels. The government has called for an immediate end to the walkout and said the strikers will be dealt with strictly and according to the law. There's just one day to go before an anti-corruption law aimed at bringing more transparency to workers in certain sectors of Korea takes effect. Under the law, public officials, media outlets, and schools will not be allowed to accept meals worth more than 30,000 won, or roughly $27. For gifts, the limit is $45, and for gifts of cash on occasions like weddings and funerals, the cap is set at $90. However, there are concerns that the law will take a toll on consumer sentiment and dent the retail and dining sectors. Meanwhile, major retailers have been rolling out gift sets that conform to the new price limits, while high-end restaurants popular with government officials have introduced lower-priced dishes, and at least 3 of them have closed down. Korea's leading cosmetics manufacturer, AmorePacific, has suspended sales of 11 kinds of toothpastes found to contain chemicals used in toxic humidifier sterilizers. This comes after the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety said the toothpastes contained the same 2 chemicals which were found in the humidifier sterilizers that led to over 100 deaths in Korea. The ministry, however, says the amount found in the toothpaste poses no significant health risks. AmorePacific has apologized for not managing the ingredients thoroughly enough and announced a recall. The nation's supermarket chains have also removed the products in question from their shelves and have started giving refunds. The nation's 3 main mobile service providers will start taking pre-orders for Samsung Electronics Galaxy Note 7 starting Wednesday. Actual in-store sales of the smartphone will resume on October 1st. Sales of Samsung's newest phone were suspended in early September, just days after its big launch, following several reports of the smartphone catching fire while being charged. The tech giant has instituted a worldwide recall of the device and has offered to swap out the affected units for new ones or give customers a refund. Analysts expect the recall to cost Samsung about $1 billion. Korea's statistics agency has released a new report showing cancer remains the leading cause of death in the country. But rising quickly over the past decade is pneumonia, owing largely to the rapid aging of Korean society. Shin Se-min reports.
New data shows the leading cause of death in Korea last year was cancer. Though, with the country's population growing older, pneumonia has risen sharply up the ranks. According to a report released by Statistics Korea on Tuesday, cancer accounted for 27.9% of all deaths in 2015. And the cancer death rate, that is, the number of deaths per 100,000 people, stood at 150.8, almost the same as the year before. As a cause of death, cancer was followed by cardiovascular conditions and brain-related illnesses. Next was pneumonia, which, as a cause of death, rose from number 10 back in 2005 to number 4 in 2015. The statistics agency attributed that to Korea's rapidly aging society. The country has one of the world's lowest birth rates, and people are also living longer. Longer lifespans have led to a dramatic rise in age-related conditions, including pneumonia and heart disease. For young people, however, the leading cause of death was suicide. That was true for those in their teens to those in their 30s, with the highest proportion of suicides accounting for 41% of deaths among 20-somethings. Overall, the number of Koreans who died from any cause last year reached nearly 276,000, a rise of 3.1% from a year earlier. That's the highest number since record began in 1983. The statistics agency expects the country's population will begin to decline by the year 2030 as Korea's baby boomer generation starts to pass away over the coming decades. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Turning now to the weather, you may want to keep an umbrella handy as the rain we've been seeing all day is expected to continue throughout the evening. This is from an indirect effect of Typhoon Megi, which is making its way to China. Seoul and the central part of the country will both see up to 50 millimeters of rain, while the southern provinces will see between 5 and 20 millimeters. Korea's southern island of Jeju can expect up to 80 millimeters of rain through Thursday. For those of you hoping to see the fall foliage, you may want to head to Gangwon-do province, where the leaves are already starting to turn, though the colors are expected to peak in mid-October. That's it for this hour. Thanks for watching. We'll have more in our later newscasts. Bye for now.